What would you do if the person you married unexpectedly forced you into the role of a full-time step-parent, despite your own career, and allowed their children to treat you with open disrespect? In today's story, the protagonist's choice is a masterclass in how to handle it. I was only 22 when I first met Arthur. He was 7 years my senior, 29, and a recent widower with 2 young children. Our courtship was a whirlwind. He introduced me to his kids, 10-year-old Lily and 8-year-old Ethan. Within days of us meeting, Arthur quickly declared I was the one, not just for him, but for his children too, promising an incredible and happy family life. A year later, when I was 23, and Lily and Ethan were 8 and 6 respectively, we married. The ceremony even included a special moment where the kids and I made promises to each other, an idea Arthur had. However, the idyllic picture Arthur painted quickly crumbled. Despite the fact that I worked full-time and always had, he began to shove all the childcare responsibilities onto me. He always had an excuse. He was sore from his physical job, or I was better at it because I'd babysat kids their age before. He'd even claim girl stuff for Lily, or that cooking and everything else was my domain. There was always a reason, and it always landed on me. Arthur started coming home and immediately settling into relaxing from the moment he walked in until bedtime. He'd say he was tired and that he was bringing in the money and keeping the roof over everyone's heads. Though that wasn't entirely true, he genuinely believed he deserved to relax. His evenings were often spent playing video games, or he'd go out with friends, or bring them over to drink beer and watch loud TV. The dynamic at home grew increasingly toxic. Arthur developed a major attitude towards me and, shockingly, encouraged Lily and Ethan to do the same. They found it amusing. He started openly disrespecting me, and the children followed his lead. He became the ultimate fun dad, while I was relegated to the role of the mean witch. There were times when all 3 of them would gang up on me, openly mocking me. Yet, despite their disrespect, they all expected me to serve them, constantly jumping up to cater to their needs. By the end of the first year of marriage, the harsh reality set in. This marriage was a huge mistake. But the guilt of breaking my promises to the children held me captive. Another year passed, and the truth became undeniable. Despite my efforts, and knowing they were just kids, I genuinely disliked both Lily and Ethan. I couldn't lie to myself anymore and pretend to love them. I didn't, and I never would. One day, the breaking point arrived. I simply walked out. I packed all my belongings and moved out while no one was home. I left a note, a brief explanation that it wasn't working, and a simple goodbye. That was the end of it. The aftermath was a predictable shitstorm from Arthur, leading to a bitter divorce. We both walked away with what we had before the marriage, which wasn't much for either of us. I had never legally adopted the children, so I had no rights or responsibilities concerning them. I never reached out to any of them again, and honestly, I was overjoyed to be rid of all of them. 15 years have passed since then. It feels like a lifetime ago. Or perhaps someone else's life entirely, though I'm still only in my late 30s. Recently, I was shocked to receive a message from Lily, now 25 years old. She accused me of betraying and traumatizing her for life, for abandoning them after the promises I made. She claimed I had a responsibility to never leave no matter what. What she conveniently overlooked, of course, was the horrific way she and her brother treated me. A comment from the internet resonated deeply with my feelings. There is never a responsibility to never leave. That is ridiculous. Sure, a 10-year-old may reasonably think so, but a 25-year-old should know better. It's true, her father had groomed them, and her perspective was clearly warped. Your husband didn't want a wife, he chose a younger woman and whisked her off her feet to be his live-in maid, nanny and cook. He knew what he was doing when he asked you to make that promise to the kids, emotionally manipulating you into staying even though he treated you like crap. This insight perfectly captured the manipulative dynamic of my marriage. This reveals Arthur's greatest fatal flaw, his utter disregard for anyone else's well-being and his manipulative nature, which ultimately sealed his family's fate. It's clear Lily has spent well over a decade being fed a narrative where I abandoned them, and that all their problems stem from my leaving, not from their father's actions. The internet comment section seemed to agree. I guarantee their father has been driving this home for years and years. This girl has been brainwashed her entire life, and no amount of logic or maturity is going to convince her otherwise. It's best to just ignore her and let her go on believing what she believes because nothing is ever going to change her mind one way or the other. The moral of this story is that sometimes, walking away from a toxic situation, even when it involves broken promises made under manipulative circumstances, is an act of self-preservation, not abandonment. What would you do if faced with a situation where your well-being was constantly sacrificed for the convenience and manipulation of others?